All right. Hello, world. Thanks for joining us today for TrueProp's first ever Instagram Live. This is a very exciting time for us. This is our first time experimenting with the new live format, but TrueProp's Instagram community has been surprisingly active, so we really wanted to reach out and do something that would reach everybody. And I think we got a good one for you guys today. We'll be bringing in Gabe from Precision Propeller to discuss propeller repair and specifically computerized propeller repair. And I can see people jumping in. Good to see some familiar faces here. For those who haven't heard, TrueProp is used to inspect propellers and determine geometric quality. You know, class S, 1, 2, 3, if you're familiar with some of those reports that you get. The software ensures that each blade on the propeller, each individual blade is matched within a specified manufacturer's tolerance. And so for non-boaters, you can think of this like balance and alignment in your car. You know, kind of part of your regular maintenance schedule, and you know when things are kind of amiss. So your propeller is that critical link between the vessel's engine and all that power that's available, and that propeller is the link that turns all that power into wonderful, usable thrust that we all love. And propeller quality is just so important. I can't really stress it enough, and we'll try to touch on that a lot during this live session here. But from fuel burn to efficiency and to noise and vibration, there's really a lot to talk about when it comes to propeller quality. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop some comments in there. We'll try and address them. So as long as the ocean has a bottom, boaters are going to continue to rely on professionals like Precision Propeller and Gabe. Gabe's been running TrueProp Software at a shop since December of 2019. So let's invite him in and hear from him. He can help take some of the focus off me. And so bear with me here. I got to press a little button to do this. Invite to join. Precision Propeller. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that this all works.
Hey, Adam.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Can you hear me okay?
It sounds good on my end. How about you?
Yeah, good, okay? Good. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Thanks for joining us here.
Yeah.
How are you doing? You wanna introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your business?
Yeah. Well, I'm freezing. It's actually kind of warmer today. I think it's actually like 40. Yesterday was just like I'm in New York, so yesterday was like I don't know. I think it was like 50 below zero. So cold, but
yeah. Single digits start to seem warm at that point.
Yeah, it's great. So like you said, my name is Gabe. My brother Mike and I own Precision Propeller, and we're located in Newburgh, New York, which is it's about an hour and a half north of New York City, and it's about an hour and a half south of Albany. We're about 30 minutes west of Connecticut, the Danbury area, and we're about an hour, I'd say about 45 minutes east of Pennsylvania. And we're about just under 2 hours away south of Lake George, and we're only about 45 minutes from the Jersey border. So we're we're actually pretty centrally located, which I think is really beneficial to our business. So
so your props are coming in from all over the area, not just locally around you guys.
Yeah, and you know what's pretty cool is like we're right here we're right on the Hudson River. We're not on the Hudson River, but we're like a couple blocks from it. And so a lot of people are under the impression that we get a lot of business from the river, which is oddly enough is just the opposite. We don't really get much business from the river. And the reason why is just our location here. It's not very densely populated with a lot of marinas. It's kind of thinned out over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do see a lot of is transients when they're going through the canals, the loopers, right? So
Yep.
we do get a lot of that coming through, especially on the north side. They're coming through the canals and they're coming south down through New York City, or vice versa when people are bringing their boats to Florida and backwards. So the stuff that we see on the river really predominantly is the larger stuff rather than anything else. But I would say most of our business really comes from, say, Connecticut, Lake George, a lot of lakes, things like that. So although we're right here by the river, we really don't get it's not where all the business comes in.
Hmm.
So like Stu from Miller's Island, where he's right on the Chesapeake, where all of his business kind of comes right from there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're located, and we service about 200 marinas in the 4 states. So and we're a really great company. Me and my brother own it. We're going on about 21 years, and we have a great group of employees. So that does good. We got a great reputation too.
Yeah. And so, what are like the services you guys provide for like some of these projects that are coming in?
So I'll give you. Actually, I want to bring you over to this. We got a couple of great CNC machines, if I can say. We've recently purchased, if you could see, not recently, probably over the past 3 or 4 years, we purchased a couple Haas lathes. We got a new Haas lathe, which is great because we pump out shafts. We make our shafts right here, and between our Haas lathe there, and we got a new Haas milling machine over here. It really is if you could see that, it's a
Yeah.
great machine. And Haas has really become a great supporter of our business too. Just all the stuff that they offer. And actually, my brother currently goes to school to learn how to use these machines. So we're just continuing to learn so we could do more and more things. But really, for the marine industry, we've gotten quite proficient at just pumping out shafts we can do a shaft, we can do 2 shafts in just the same day if they really needed it to. So that's really beneficial for a lot of these businesses or the marinas that,
Yeah. Help them get that.
especially since the time frame in the season is so short. There's only so many weekends, so they don't want to wait a couple, 2-3 weeks for things. So we keep a good inventory of stock from Western Branch Metals. And my brother just makes them right here. So between that, we do a lot of aluminum propeller repair. I'll show you over here. This is our rack for props that are going to be going out once we open back up.
Mm-hmm. So those ones are all finished.
These are all done, ready to go. Yep. And so we do our fair share of aluminum props and stainless props. And of course the inboard stuff where we use your machine predominantly on.
Yeah.
So
what's the size range for the props you're dealing with? And if you want to talk about shafts too, tell us the size range that you guys can handle for shafts.
Sure. The shafts that machine could take up to 2 1/4 comfortably. So, and honestly, that's about our range because
Mm-hmm.
the geographic area that we deal with, I don't know. We never really kind of go into anything that's even larger than that. Although we have a great relationship with Western Branch Metals, whereas if a customer needed something that's even larger, we can just work with them and they'll do
Mm-hmm.
it for us because they make up to 6-inch shafts.
Yeah.
So actually, we
You
have
can
a great
customer in the procurement and all that stuff.
What's that?
You can assist the customer in like procuring those shafts and larger stuff.
Yeah, actually, we have a great relationship with the New York State Canals, and one of their boats required a 6-inch shaft a few years ago, and I worked with Jason, and he got me one, and it was great. So we're able to do that type of things, but we could do up to 2 1/4 comfortably inside there. And as for we do everything from a tiny aluminum prop to the biggest prop we've ever done was 76 inches, and it was a 4-blade stainless. It was gigantic.
Yeah.
And that was when, so a couple of years ago, they were building a new bridge over here, the Tappan Zee Bridge. And thankfully, they really did a great job in utilizing local vendors. And we're like 20 minutes away. So I established a great rapport with them. And They really stood to their word that when they built that bridge, they were going to utilize local vendors, and they really did. And we were one of them. And we're so grateful. I can tell people, hey, I helped not build it, but we really did a lot of work under some tight windows to help those guys win those props, because those props, they came in and they were just destroyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the biggest one we did was in that 70 range, but we comfortably work right up to about 36 inches. So that's our cream of the crop. We can kind of blow right through that stuff.
Yeah. So
So
lots
that's our range right
of
there.
aluminum outboards, stainless steel outboards, and then you guys are doing stainless and mostly bronze inboard wheels up to like 36 inches, but you guys can do more.
Yeah, and I think and we'll talk about our prop machine here. I think that'll take comfortably on the machine, I think up to 42 inches to scan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say, like, we'd like to keep inside the parameters of what that machine can actually fit. Although the computer program will do much larger than that.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't spin it on that machine.
Yeah, without actually contacting this side. And we'll
Yeah.
in a second. So actually getting to that, let's so why don't you walk us through what happens when a prop comes into the shop?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna put this right over here. So I will tell you. So I'll tell you, this is that's our computer system right there, and that's actually what's called the prop view. It's so I'll give you a little history about this machine. So we've owned it for about as long as we've been doing this. So say 20 something years. So what happened was this machine was one of the first machines. And actually, I got to go back a little bit, because a lot of people when they hear MRI machines, they think that they're getting like a body scan, and it's really not.
Yeah, that's true.
MRI is a very deceiving, because like when customers call and they say, hey, can you scan my prop? I literally think they think that we're going to take like this thing and kind of go, like, these vibrations are going to go over it, when it's really not. And it's a major, bravo to the person who came up with those initials, because it is kind of,
it
not
gives
to say misleading, but
additional
it's something grander than it actually is.
Yeah.
But MRI actually stands for, what is it? Measurement Recording Instrument.
Yep.
And it's just measuring. It's almost like a ruler.
Mm-hmm.
So this machine was one of the first ones that were out there back in the 90s. And it was a great machine. It was very simple, easy to use, and it provided exactly what the marinas needed, the prop shops needed. A simple machine that will measure a prop and provide some supporting documents to verify the work. Yep. And that's really what it was. But once the popularity, or as this thing started gaining momentum, another competitor went in and bought all the machines and kind of put them out of business. And again, that's what I've been told over the years. I haven't heard anything different, but now another company had come in and really just took this machine and put a bigger program in it and just kind of blew it out there, developed relations with other companies to really throw it out there. So those particular machines became very prominent out in the industry. And so what happened was we kind of lost any support for this machine. And this machine is 20, the actual structure is about 25 years old, if not older, but it only ran on Windows 95. And there's no support for Windows 95. Once we got into I remember once we got into 2002, we had to treat this thing like it was the holy grail. We couldn't, we built like a box around it so no dust would get into it. We just kind of we treated it like it was gold. So we were always indecisive about how to handle that, because there were times where it would crash. And again, it's hard to find somebody that can restore the Windows 95. So
Yeah.
long story short is when you guys came around and you offered a program that you could build into this, that was a home run for us because, again, the actual machine is great. So the process really is when a prop comes in that looks like those guys right there.
Yeah, that's great. Those are,
Um,
that's how they come in, exactly.
yeah,
Bent and dinged up.
yeah. And so they end up going on. Well, I will tell you this, you know, when, and I think a lot of prop shops, maybe I shouldn't talk for other prop shops, but I got a good idea because I'm kind of friendly with a lot of these guys. We build rapport when we've been together for so many years. Is that a lot of, the scan at the end is really just to verify the work. It's just something we can give to the customer. The customer really doesn't even understand it because it's basically just a bunch of graphs and stuff, and they
Mm-hmm.
just got to look at it and just say, and just we kind of explain it to them. But it's just to verify the work. And but what we use the machine primarily for is, hey, I got a vibration. Hey, this motor's running 200 RPMs higher than the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's great because just by putting it on here and just scanning it, which again, we get into that MRI statement. It's this probe right here. This probe right here. Actually, let me bring this a little closer.
Yeah, great. I'm sure everyone's interested in this.
Oh, hey, Stu. How you doing, buddy? I love Stu. Stu's a great guy. Miller's Island's a great company.
Yeah,
They're fantastic. I
they're
highly
great
recommend
guys.
them. And what's good is
They
there's
actually have the same machine too, which is funny.
yeah, I know. I tried to buy it from Stu several times. He won't sell it to me. I got you, Stu. But they're a great company. They're like third generation down there, and they're fantastic people. And I have no problem giving kudos to some of these companies out there that do good because I think we all have our piece of the business, and it's great to work back and forth. And because I know I don't know everything, and it's good for me to call somebody like Stu and even Jamie down at Frank and Jimmy's. They're great resources. Marcus at Power Tech, so they're all great. But anyway, going back to this. So basically, here's the probe. Here's the prop. We kind of lock it into place in a nutshell version. And basically, this probe right here, this round probe, just kind of rolls down the blade right there. And so there's a pedal that operates the computer to tell it when to stop and start. But ultimately, again, MRI, it's a measurement recording instrument. So it's just recording the chords of the blade. And the chords are the chord. This is a chord, this length right here from the top to the bottom. And it just records it.
Yeah. We're tracing the surface and capturing the surface.
Yes,
Basically the height and the what we call it the angle and the drop for the software layer. But that's what we're capturing, and we bring that into the computer and we compare each blade to make sure they're all the same.
Yeah.
And, your story about the computer, treating it like the holy grail and making sure nothing happened to it, and how critical the whole, there's a conception that you need to get these things scanned, that they need to be computer MRI, the doctor has to come and scan it. And so if you don't have this capability, it can be a real problem for your business. So if this machine goes down, Windows 95 crash, not good. And you don't have the ability to generate those reports. And this was a problem, not just with your shop or with Stu's shop or other shops that I've been to. Everyone had this problem. There's only so many manufacturers of propeller repair equipment. It's a pretty niche industry. And so as these machines aged, people were hoarding old computers in closets, extra parts and things like that to keep themselves up and running just in case anything, failed. And that's a problem, TrueProp, that's what we kind of got pulled into this industry to address that problem specifically, that people had these structures, 20-year-old structure, nothing wrong with it. Everything on it, it's rigid, it's stiff, it works. And the instrument itself is fine. There was a software layer, communication layer that wasn't, easy to upkeep. So now we've made it so modern day software, we'll engineer the connection between, the software and your device. In Gabe's case, we looked into what encoders he had on there. We made some custom fabricated cables, a new data acquisition system. And then so now he can all run that on basically any computer he wants, Windows 10 upcoming, just coming down the road here, we got Windows 11. So keeping these systems future proofed is going to be a concern for a lot of people. And that's something we can really help out with at TrueProp.
Actually, Adam, hold on. I just want to answer this prop
Yep.
shop in Richmond. He says, does the TrueProp software work similarly with the Hale MRI? Do you want to answer that, or do you want me to?
Yeah. So the readings that are coming off of any device, it's a big part of TrueProp's philosophy that we can kind of pair up with any device. Doesn't matter if it's this PropView 3, if it's an MRI. We've done a Kempf and Remmers, we've done prop scan systems. So basically what we want to do is reuse the machine itself. The MRI is really not much different than this machine or the other machines. There's feedback in there, we call them encoders, but they're measuring the position of the probe tip. That signal, we take it into the computer, we process it, clean it up, do all the calibration, and then we're going to output, calculations like pitch, chord, etc. So for the MRI, it's basic, and most other machines, this is a software layer add-on. We didn't really have to change too much. We didn't have to change anything about your machine. We basically just plugged in the new box and cables and ran some new software.
And I will, and you know what? I'm going to add to that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because Adam just told you about the logistics of it and the software, but I'm going to tell you that, I don't know if you guys know, but I believe a new propeller from Michigan, they use the Hale MRI. And I believe, and somebody can correct me, maybe Stu, if he's still on, but I believe a brand new inboard prop coming from Michigan is scanned on an MRI at a class 3. Which
yeah, they're essentially taking 3 radial positions, 57, 90.
Right, and to put that also into perspective, so you have a class 1, class S, which is the very best one, and class 3 is actually like, I don't know, like the bronze medal versus the silver and the gold. So you got a class S, which is the best, which is literally, as a prop shop, that's literally like threading a needle. Like it's so much, like it takes a lot of work to get to a class S. You're literally making that prop perfect. Where in my case, in my business here, I don't need to make it perfect. They won't even figure that there's no difference. But so you have a class S, a class 1, a class 2, which that's a class 2, and then class 3. So just to tell you, is a class 3 from Michigan is kind of the base one, where I think most of the prop shops fix their props at class 2, and I think class 1 and class S are additional charges because it takes that much longer. So is it similar to it? So I would say this. So we've been using this PropView, the original PropView, for a long time. I think it was great. It really did the work. It really did the work. Actually, we ran a business using that. So, and a lot of businesses use that. Then the MRI came out. And what that one gives is, I think it gives you, it's just more finer details in the paper. But honestly, if it's a 26 pitch, it's a 26 pitch. If the rake is there, the rake is there. Like, so Adam's software, TrueProp, and again, not to just blow smoke with Adam's stuff, but it's basically on the same level. It's just the actual program. And I think the evolution of these machines is starting to do that, where you got guys like Gary Linden at Linden Propeller. He's building his own machine, and he's putting Adam's software in it. Mm-hmm. So again, the TrueProp software is just another version of an MRI software, a PropView 3 software, or that other prop shop
software, sure, yeah.
Yeah, that other one. But ultimately, what it does, it validates or verifies the pitch on the prop. And so, if a customer comes in and says, "Hey, I'm burning more fuel out of this one, or I'm smoking out of this one, or I'm not smoking out of this one," it's great for troubleshooting. And ultimately, we are able to use our same machine with Adam's software. And furthermore, I got to say, Adam's really receptive, because there's times where it's like, see, these are readers, because I'm old and I can't read these numbers. And I'm like, Adam, can you make these things bigger? And I'm just like, what? Like that. And so voila, the boxes are bigger. So is the scan 3-button prop scan 2 plug and play? Yes, it's definitely plug and play. Adam can answer that. And there's a couple of people asking for you. So what's your website, by the way, or how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, okay, so our website,
not to cut you off there.
Feel free, message us on Instagram here. That will get to us, of course. Website is TruePropSoftware.com, and then our email is going to be measure@TruePropSoftware.com. So this 3-button thing, some people might be wondering what that is. The prop scan system has basically its own set of parts, its own data acquisition system, how it talks to the computer. There's a box with 3 buttons, and a lot of these shops over time, the shops are dusty. So the buttons get cruddy, they break, whatever, they just stop working. I get called all the time. People are like, can you fix the blue box? Well, we can't fix the blue box. It's all this proprietary technology that they custom fabricate. So like really you look at an electronics specialist to resurrect that. But what we can kind of do is put in a new modern system. So we cut out the blue box all the way back to the cables, the physical structure of the machine where the cables plug in. And we provide a new updated box and new cables. And that, again, lets you use the same structure, same machine. You're taking those measurements, you're processing them in modern software, have PDF reports. No need to, a bunch of customers who could only print their reports with a dot matrix printer. So where do you go buy a dot matrix printer today that, it doesn't plug in with a USB, it plugs in with a 16-pin flat ribbon cable thing. So lots of like old hardware, and it's not unique to our industry. The problem is that it's just a niche industry compared to automotive or aerospace. So there's a lot fewer options. And so, we're trying to make TrueProp a viable option for every machine and spread the message out there that there is an upgrade for these guys who, they're limping the machines along. And
I think that's the most important part is, one, it's a very affordable option. And if you're running a prop view, it's only a matter of time before you just can't resurrect it again. And I think that's an excellent option. And quite frankly, as my brother progresses on these CNC machines, we are going to eventually make our own. I mean, it's not a complicated system, but being able to purchase your software and basically just duplicate our machine, it's kind of like a no-brainer. And quite frankly, we could probably make a larger one. And as a business owner, it's more beneficial to a customer because I can the wait time is less, although there's really not a wait time here. We kind of jump right on customers. Because me and my brother work right inside the shop, there's not layers that you have to go through, at least with us. So you kind of just get in and out as quickly as possible. But if you have multiple machines, that's even better. And one of the main things that we've tried to do here is that because the system is very easy to use, like anybody who works in our shop, we really try to train them on how to scan a prop. So this way, just no matter what time of the day it is, somebody walks in and they need or a marina, quite frankly, just needs an immediate answer, I can literally have anybody do it. So your programming is quite, it's very user friendly compared to what we were using before. So yeah, it's great.
I mean, there's so many skilled people in our industry who, especially the older generations here, who really can lay a prop out manually. They don't need any sort of measurement.
Oh yeah.
Layout table. But those those guys are amazing at what they do, but there's no new kids coming up with those same kind of skills or, background or whatever it is. Those guys learned over years and years and years. So now you got situations where there's kind of greener people. They need more guidance and they need more feedback and tools. And so some of the things we can do in our software, like you scan the prop once, go make a change by bending it, scan it again, you can actually overlay those two lines and see how it changed pitch, what it did for the numbers and that matter for the performance of the prop. And it kind of helps them self-train a little bit,
Yeah. And to go back to what you're saying about the guys who can pretty much lay a prop out on a table and measure it, honestly, what did we do before the computer?
Yeah.
Right? That's how we fix props. Like before these machines, before the MRI, I mean, there were guys that, Stu's dad was fixing props before these machines. Frank and Jimmy's were fixing props before these machines. But I think it's the evolution of the customer and just the industry that we need validation of the work. We need verification of what happens. And actually, and it's great too, because one of the best things, if you're a customer, or because if there's prop shops on here that you guys know, you could take this and just say, all right, so here's the prop, now take it. And whatever your boat is doing, it's going to be based on this. So
that's huge.
Right? So it's like, I'm not guessing, and again, not to take anything away from the guys who can do it on the table, but it's so helpful for us because when a customer comes in and says, I'm not getting wide open RPMs, no problem. And they don't have a baseline. They're just, well, I think it's 4,800, but I think it's 43. It's like, okay, no problem. Let's scan your prop. So I'm going to scan your prop and I'm going to say, this is what your prop is now. So when they go out there and they run their boat, Adam, you know better than me just as much, and everybody else is with the boat propellers. 1 + 1 always equals 2. There is no gray area.
Yeah.
So if it's 4,700 and it needs to be 48, we're going to go down in pitch. If it needs to be this, we're going to go up in pitch. I mean, it sounds.
I mean, when people come with just a stamp number, I'm always a little skeptical on what's stamped on the prop. I mean, because I've already been out to visit someone and then they added pitch, took pitch out, added cup, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
The scan, when you get that piece of paper, it just tells you such a more detailed story. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but boat people are picky customers. So when they're 50 or 100 RPM short, it's a big deal. And when they lose half a knot of speed, they're upset, rightly so. I mean, we can do better, but some of that requires a little more detailed dive into things.
And even if it's 20 RPMs on a diesel, I mean, that makes 20 RPMs 3,850 versus 3,800. I mean, that's it sounds like nothing, but it's important for a customer.
And we have a lot of customers who are not just prop shops, but engine companies, gearbox manufacturers, vessel designers, shipyards, and the prop side, they kind of just all ship it out over to the prop repair shops. And some of these guys are doing, a prop repair shop might be asked to correct the same problem that, maybe a naval architect or a shipyard is asked to correct. So we're just lucky we can get a little bit more intimate with the prop, get numbers out of it that are true, where someone who's just getting a stamped pitch number, they may not know the full story.
And it depends where you're located too. Some of these high performance yachts or down in Florida, they require, they kind of need that super fine tuning versus props up here. Well, I would say, at least in my area, a class 2 is just fine, but it really depends on what the customer's needs are, like you said.
I think it's also interesting to talk about the class differences. So, sometimes ideally you want a class S, right? You want the tightest, best propeller, but it's not always appropriate. And, there's some diminishing returns. to go take a Class S prop that's perfect, would be great on a motor yacht, and put that on a big noisy tugboat, it just doesn't make sense. A tugboat's not going to benefit. It's loud, it's going slow, it's pushing a lot of water, so it's just a different thing. So that's why we have these grades in the first place. Is there is kind of an appropriate level for your prop and also for your budget. Repairing something all the way up to Class S, it takes the repair shop a lot of time. It's a lot of work. So
and it's extra money, and that's the same thing. So I don't know if our audience knows, but we used to go out to Las Vegas to have a propeller convention, which I hope they bring back one day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was great because we could you're just in a whole pool with other prop shops, and you can just shoot it with them.
Right? Me and you. So I'm connected through NMPA out in Vegas.
Yeah, that's right. So with that being said, we had a conversation on balancing propellers, and we had a great conversation because, just like you talk about getting the Class S, is you can overbalance a propeller. Like the arbor that you're using here to balance a propeller, or even the dynamic balancer, once you take that off and you put it on your boat, it's a different animal. That's getting perfectly balanced here, but it may not necessarily be perfectly balanced on your shaft with everything that you that you have going on. So sometimes overbalancing a propeller isn't the greatest thing. And let's not take it out of context. They're balanced, but it's the same thing as going to a Class S. You might not necessarily need a Class S because, again, like you said, it's just going to cost money, and I don't really think that you would see the difference between that and a Class 2 or Class 3 in most cases.
Yeah.
And the reason why I could say that is if that's the case, then Michigan Propeller would be sending everything out as a Class S.
Yeah.
Like if it was that important, they would send everything out with a Class S or a Class 1. But they send it out as Class 3, brand new, and they want you to take that prop and put it right on the boat. So
I also kind of think of it like, comparing Hyundai to BMW, right? So you want all the body panels to fit perfectly and everything to be great. Well, there's just different quality levels, different budgets, and that not to say that Hyundai isn't a bad car for somebody or BMW's the right car for everyone. It's just appropriate for, what your expectations are, what your commute is, your boat, whatever. There's a lot of analogies you can pull there, but that's kind of how I try to.
Yeah. But basically, in the grand scheme of things, personally, I think anybody that's just got I think unless it's a high speed or high performance, honestly, your machine and probably Hale's is a tight enough tolerance on a Class 2 that's sufficient for the average boater, unless it's high performance. I think that, and there might be people who disagree with me, but it's up for discussion. But when I send props out as a Class 2, and actually, I don't know if I ever told you this, but when we used to do all of our props on PropView to a Class 1.
Mm-hmm.
When we got your machine, it was actually harder to get there. And I don't know if it was just just because it was an old program and what was it, but it just had some different nuances that made it a little bit harder. So your machine and your computer and again, it's like we're talking like thousandths of an inch, and we're talking about threading a needle, but it's just a matter of what we want to do is just get that meets or exceed Class 2. That's what we want to get. That's the golden goose. How we get there is, how we get there. But I personally think that Class 2 is sufficient for the average boater.
Yeah, a lot of the earlier machines, focused on pitch as pretty much an exclusive metric for the class rating, and we try to do a little bit more. So TrueProp is not just going to look at pitch; it's going to look at the length of the blade. We call that chord length. Skew is kind of the shape of the blade, the rake, and then also just kind of the curvature in the blade itself. We're also spacing between blades, and for a full class report, you check thickness and all this other stuff. So as the computers get better, we can actually evaluate more and more of the manufacturer's criteria. And TrueProp is one of those things that's always kind of growing. Like you said, we take input from everyone that we talk to. We're always trying to connect to more devices. I saw someone in here mentioning PropScan E2 versus E3 and E4. As far as I know, we've been able to connect successfully to all those systems. So just sometimes there's more things you have to replace than others. The E2 systems are a little bit more an intricate connection kit, but it's not impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we try to take a lot of feedback from people, learn from all our customers, learn from talking with you and Stu and all the other guys that are in the NMPA, that are in our little bubble of sphere of influence here.
I really hope that one day on your website that you list our participating, prop shops that use your machine.
They're actually, I don't know if you've seen it. There is a newly added page on there. If you go to our website and click shops, you'll see the list of all the different shops, their addresses, website, contact.
Am I on there?
Of course. Yeah, you guys are on there. Of course. Forget about you. So that's a great place to start if anyone on here is looking for, if you're a boat owner and you're looking for a TrueProp, report or a TrueProp scan, start there. You can find the closest person to you. Gabe's a good resource here on the East Coast, and there's probably 20 other shops on there that you could look through.
Yeah, and I have to add this too. You guys have it. You guys do much more in-depth stuff than I would even. You do prop sizing. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you guys offer that's beyond what we would even need. So I highly suggest people just kind of just go on your website and look around. And you got training too, I see too.
Yeah, training and support are really big, obviously, for anyone who wants to invest in a system and learn more how to use it, make sure that their staff is up to date. So that's a big part of our philosophy. Again, we have a fully supported product. It's continuously developed. You could call us, email us, and we could come out, do on-site training. We can do remote training. And then what you're saying about the other stuff we offer, we actually have a sister company called HydroComp. A lot of people are probably familiar and originally know me from working at HydroComp. But they're kind of our partner company. So their software, they have Propeller design software, and they've got a Propeller sizing software called Prop Expert. It's really popular with a lot of the shops here. And so a lot of people, had Prop Expert probably before they even heard of TrueProp. So this is another tool. If you guys, anything you guys need, let us know. Shoot us a message here in the chat, or send an email to either me or to Gabe. Gabe's got a lot of information, always willing to share, and super appreciative having you come on here and chat with us.
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me, and for your inaugural live event.
Yeah.
And I hope we could do it again. And if not, I wish you a lot of luck with this, because I think it'll be great for your business, where you can kind of have these. And looks like we had a couple people on there, but there's some great people out there just to get on it with you.
Yeah, it's a new way to reach people, and not everyone is, especially with the virus, whatever. We can't just go out to Vegas and all get together and learn from each other. So it's the new world. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, TikToks, whatever they are, but we'll figure it all out. So this has been good. We'll do more. We'll try and get you in on another one.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll start wrapping up here. But appreciate everyone's time today, and really appreciate Gabe and inviting us in to get a look in his shop and telling us all about what he does.
You got it, brother.
Cheers. Okay, everyone, have a good one. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you later.